Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, then welcome to All Things Trey. My name is Trevonia, but you can call me Trey. So today we are going to be talking about something that is very essential to you and I and everybody else, whether you like it or not. We all have to deal with it, and that is credit. So I recently had the pleasure of a best friend reaching out to me and asking me to come and speak to some high schoolers that he typically works with. He asked me to come and teach them about credit. So I am not a super professional when it comes to credit. I have, however, been working with a company called FES, United Credit Education Services. I've been working with them for just over a year now. I work with them as a referral agent, referring individuals who are in need of credit repair to their services. So he reached out to me. He asked me to come and speak to some high schoolers, and I was super excited to do it. If they had things like that when I was in high school, I definitely would have jumped on it. Definitely would have heeded learning those things. Is very essential to know. So being able to learn those things as a high schooler at such a young age, definitely I would have took the chances if my high school was offering it when I went. Alright, so we're going to just go ahead and jump into it. I'm pretty much going to be giving you guys the basics of the things that you need to know when it comes to credit. So this is great for if you're in high school or if you are just starting out using credit, because that's not always high schoolers or college students. It's definitely sometimes grown adults who have never touched their credit, never established credit. So we're pretty much just going to be deep diving in what you need to know when it comes to credit. So let's get started. So what is credit? In the most simplest terms ever, and even when I was talking to the high schoolers, the most simplest thing and the most simplest way to put it for you to remember, if you don't take anything else away from this video, I want you to know credit is as simple as your identity as a consumer. That is it. That's all credit is. It basically tells companies your identity. If you're good with credit, if you're good with borrowing money, those things. It just basically keeps track of if you're good or bad with borrowing money. As simple as that. That's what credit is. Alright, so when it comes to your credit, it is reported to different credit bureaus. So there are four main ones that you'll always hear of, and that is FICO, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. So basically a credit bureau is nothing but a company that collects information relating to the credit ratings of individuals and makes it available to credit card companies, financial institutions, etc. So when you have your credit is basically made up of a 3-digit score. Credit scores in the United States are numbers that represent the credit worthiness of a person. The likelihood that person will pay their debts. Lenders such as banks and credit companies use credit scores to evaluate the risk of lending money to consumers. In simpler terms, your credit score is basically a grading scale, letting lenders and companies know basically how good or bad you are with your credit. So the grading scale is as low as 300 and as high as 850. There are multiple things that go into making up your credit score, right? So I'm going to go over a few of the credit score elements. 1, timeliness of payments. You want to make sure that you're paying off anything that you owe each month on time. Timeliness of payments actually make up 35% of your credit score. Number 2, utilization. That is basically your debt, how much you owe, how much credit that you're using that you actually already have. So if you have about a $200 limit on a credit card, you really don't want to be using more than $60. You don't want to use more than 30% each month, and your utilization basically makes up 30% also of your credit score. Longevity, how long you've had that credit line. You want to make sure that when you get these credit lines, you're keeping them open for a nice amount of time. The longer that you keep them open, the better it looks with lenders when you go out to borrow even more later on in the future. So you never want to open something just to close it immediately. And longevity makes up 15% of your credit score. Number 4, inquiries. So whenever you go and you are inquiring about being able to borrow money, whether it's for a credit card or a home, auto, any of those things, you are placing inquiries on your credit report. Inquiries take about 2 years to fall off, and they're sometimes, for the most part, looked at as negative items. So they do impact your credit score about 10%. That's how much it would affect your credit score. So you really don't want to go out and are applying for so many credit cards or auto loans, home loans, those things, because those do put a hit on your credit. They can drop your credit score. So you definitely want to make sure that you're being careful with inquiries, because like I said, they do take about 2 years to come off. Number 5, account mix. So account mix is pretty much your credit cards, your auto loans, your home loans, school loans, those type of things. The things that you have mixed in, personal loans, business loans, all of those different things. You want to make sure that you are mixing it up. They want to see that you are doing different things with your credit. Not that you have just a bunch of credit cards and that you're just trying to like borrow money and use a bunch of money up. They want to see that you are actually using your credit for wise investments as well. And that makes, account mix makes up about 10%. Account mix also is the types of credit, which would be installment and revolving. Installment is going to be auto loan, when you have a set price, a set principal, and you have a set time frame to pay off that credit limit. So if you have about a $7,000 car note and you have 4 years to pay that off, you pay those in installments to pay that down. Revolving will be your monthly credit card payment. And so that also, again, makes up account mix. Moving along, so a few ways to be able to establish credit. You can be an authorized user on a credit card with somebody. If you have an aunt, an uncle, or anybody you know that's really good with credit and they have multiple credit cards and multiple lines of credit, they pay on time each month, and they've had it for a long, nice amount of time, you can always ask them like, hey, I'm looking to establish some credit. Would you be willing to put me on one of your credit lines as an authorized user? So when they add you to that credit line, you would be getting that same amount of longevity, positivity. You get that good credit history payment. You get all of those things that they have been getting as a positive to them establishing good credit. You will be able to establish good credit. You can get a secure credit card. A secure credit card is partnering with a credit card company. You pay it about $200 down, $300. You pay the money up front, and then boom, you have a credit limit. Sometimes some credit companies won't have you pay anything up front, and you can get an unsecured credit card, and you would just pay those monthly payments each month. An unsecured credit card is just you not having to pay the money up front. Another great way is the Self Credit Builder app. Self has been super great. I use Self. When I first used Self, it boosted my credit account by a good 30 points. So it's definitely a great way to establish credit as well as save money. When you sign on with Self, you can pick a certain amount you would want taken out each month that you'll basically be paying yourself, and then at the end of 2 years you will have established great credit, building credit, longevity, as well as you would have saved that money, and they give it back to you with, of course, some interest paid off to them. But it's a great way to save money as well as establish credit. So some don'ts. You don't want to co-sign. You want to make sure that you're not establishing any late payments. You don't want to close accounts, because again, credit companies are looking at the longevity of how long you've had it. So definitely don't open an account if you think you're going to close it. You don't want to use maximum limits. Remember, you want to stay within 10 to 30% of the utilization. And you don't want to acquire too many inquiries, because again, inquiries drop your score, and they also take about 2 years to fall off. Last, we're going to just really quickly go over annual percentage rate. So an annual percentage rate is expressed as an interest rate. It calculates what percentage of the principal you'll pay each year by taking things such as monthly payments into account. Your annual percentage rate is as simple as an interest payment that is added on, and it'll basically help you to calculate how much in the long run you will end up owing on that credit line. Hopefully these were some great tips. I just basically wanted to cover the basics with you guys on what to look at and what to establish when you are just starting out. Just like I said, just basically the credit basics. Be sure to like this video. Make sure you also subscribe. Turn on the bell so you can be notified for anything else that I might drop. Leave a comment below. Let me know if these were some great tips. Let me know if you learned anything, and let me know if you didn't learn anything, and if you already knew these things. It's always a great time. Until next time, guys. See you later.